Sorry, just got out of the shower, so my hair is like dry and wet, and all weird. It's a little chilly outside, but it's so beautiful out. Oh my god, it's just such a beautiful day. I've been up since 5:30, so it has definitely been just one of those go days. Got yoga in, got kids dropped off, got calls done with clients, and got my shower done. And laundry too. And even a little bit of online work. And now here I am, conscious coffeeing it up with a glass of water. Because any more coffee and I would just be like a golden retriever, a caffeinated golden retriever. I'll go a run for his fast pace, boom, 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 all over the stuff. But, I was sitting here and I was thinking about some of the conversations I've had today and some of the things that's of course come up over the last couple of days, because that's the way Conscious Coffee rolls, right? It's the topics that are currently impacting my world. Hey, afternoon, Craig. Afternoon, Addison. And one of the topics that has been really coming about a lot, morning Lance, is the topic of, like, how do I have that ideal sex life? How do I have that ideal relationship? Like, what do I do to achieve this? Like, what's the 1, 2, 3s of calling in that soulmate relationship that's oh so yummy, that's oh so juicy, that just turns me on, ignites me, and I ignite and turn them on, and we just connect, like we just connect, you just feel it. It's so yummy, and we get along, we're friends, and we have similar goals and desires, and we connect in all these different layers of life, and it's almost as though we can just read each other's minds and feel each other's heart, and we feel it, we truly feel and see each other. Like, how do I achieve that? And I get asked this, and right now I have a whole bunch of people, because I'm working with a bunch of couples, and all my couples do not have this going on. Like, this is not what they have going on. Of course, if they had that going on, they probably wouldn't need me, right? So they're coming to me for assistance, for coaching, advice, support, different, views to alleviate old patterns and really shift the relationships they have into something greater, something expanded, something healthy. Because the reality is that the majority of relationship is extremely toxic. It's not even remotely healthy. Relationship across the board, whether it is with a significant other, somebody that we're just dating, our family, our children, our friends, the majority of relationships are toxic, supportive, empty, and we feel these voids in relationship of all kind. And that's where that unsatisfied feeling comes from, that discord, that lack of happiness, that lack of really being able to feel and to see each other. It really stems from this void. And it really is. It's a void. Now, there is a void that happens between people, but the void that happens between you and another person that you might be pointing your fingers at, you might be going, that's the problem. Right there, that's the problem. How do I fill this void that we have between us? Or how do I prevent this void from happening? Because I keep having this happen in relationship to relationship to relationship. I see it coming up so much, and I'm just unsatisfied in my sex. I'm unsatisfied in my emotions, in my mental relationship, in my connection with these people. How do I fill the void? My dog just threw up. That was really gross. Really, really gross. On that note, you feel like you have all this stuff that you need to share with the other person. You feel like you need to share all this stuff with the other person, but you don't know how, right? Or there's things about you want to share, or you think you should share, and you get into this land of, I don't know, but it feels vulnerable. It's extreme vulnerability. And anytime you kind of venture out into vulnerability, you kind of go, what? You're like, oh, but if I share, and if I'm open, if I'm authentic, if I'm in my integrity, in my truth with this other person, will it be received okay? Or will they want to distance themselves? Will they think I'm too much? Will they think I'm weak? Will they think that I'm being rude? Will they think that, that I'm crazy? Will they think whatever our fear is of them thinking it? How will they perceive and feel about what you share? The reality is that without the vulnerability, you get nowhere. Okay, you get nowhere, because vulnerability is pretty much the seat of integrity. Okay, vulnerability and integrity, they're one and the same. In order to be in integrity means that you're going to have to be vulnerable. You don't get to be in integrity and not be vulnerable about things. Being integrity means to stand in your truth. Standing in your truth means that you're going to edge on some grounds that are like, oh, I don't know about that. But when was the last time you actually asked for what you wanted in the bedroom? When was the last time you actually said, no, I'm not okay with that in the bedroom? When was the last time you said, hey, this is actually what I'm really needing right here, right now, in this moment? When was the last time that you approached another person in any relationship with just that state of vulnerability of, no, I'm not okay with doing that, or I really need some time, some space. Just this morning, Addison and I were out. We go to yoga. We're yoga buddies. We're out to yoga, and then we went over and we had our morning smoothie. We're sitting there, we're having a smoothie, we're chit-chatting about stuff and everything. And then we were carpooling together, and she's gonna drop me off, and we some comment, and I just looked at her and I was like, man, I just need an hour, just a solid hour all by myself. Now that should be like one of those really easy things to say, but I can tell you what, there's moments where you go, is the other person going to be okay with me admitting that I need some space, that I need some time alone? Now in our relationship, that's just like, I mean, of course, like she's going her way, I'm going my way. But here's the thing, that assumption, most people don't even ask for that right there. Most people don't even state. They hang out far too long, and they anticipate, they expect, heavy on the expectation that the other person is going to be psychic and know, without them speaking, without using this voice box right here in the land of metaphysics and metaphysical healing work, in the land of tantra and everything. We call this the throat chakra. It's the form of communication, is what it's also known as. It's where we actually let our voice be heard. We speak our truth. We communicate our needs, our boundaries, our desires with this thing called our throat chakra, our voice box. Our voice has to come out of our mouth. We can't just like think it, as great as telepathy might be, doesn't work 99.99% of the time for the majority of people, to my knowledge. And if it does work for you, that's awesome. I wouldn't count on it. Would never ever make the assumption that somebody else knows what you need, knows what you want, knows your desires, knows what you don't want. Even if you've told them 1,000,000 times over, you still need to speak it, because we're forgetful, we're self-centered, we are unpresent, and we simply just don't listen very well. So when we expect another person to understand us, what we do is we put separation between us and them. We create that void. We are literally digging that hole, that void between us and another person, because we're not speaking our truth. We're not standing in our integrity, and we're expecting another person to get it, to understand it, to know it. And we get exhausted because we try to tell things in all these silent ways, because we're scared. We're scared of standing in it. We're scared of how we're going to be perceived. We're scared of abandonment. But I can tell you what, if you want your ideal sex life, you want your ideal relationship, in any relationship, the place to start is, number one, figure out what the fuck you want inside yourself. Like, know thyself first. If you do not know yourself in your sex, then how is anybody else going to know you in your sex? How is anybody else going to fill what you are needing? They're not. I mean, they can kind of like throw spaghetti up against the wall. Try this, try that, try this, try that. And you can fake them out. You can go, oh, oh, oh. And then you can turn around and you can be like, she just never does this. She never initiates. She never touches me the right way. She never kisses me enough. She never romances me enough. She never snuggles with me enough. She never strokes this, that, whatever, the right way at all. Or you can say, hey, I need this. I need this. Would you be open to doing this? And in a relationship in general, take it general picture. That's talking about time, talking about money, talking about energy, talking about needs, talking about, boundaries. Yeah, it's actually a healthy thing to have boundaries. Although a lot of people believe that I don't have any boundaries is a good thing. Well, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. How boundaries are important in every area of our life. Emotional boundaries, mental boundaries, physical boundaries, time boundaries, financial boundaries, sexual boundaries. We have and need boundaries because what's good for one is not good for another. And when we make the assumption that other people are like us in boundaries, in needs and desires, that's where the toxicity rises from. And that's where that void expands and grows even more. And guess what ends up happening? Both parties end up feeling unseen, unheard, as though they don't know how to communicate it. Fear sets in more, doubt sets in more, and then all of a sudden, explosion. And two people that could have had a really dynamic, hot, amazing relationship end up going different ways because they didn't communicate what they needed. And they weren't willing to the fire of truth to speak it. So I had to ask you today, I ask you to look at all your relationships, okay? All of them. If you don't have a sexual relationship, I want you to look at your friends. I want you to look at your children. I want you to look at colleagues. I want you to look at different areas that you are definitely not speaking your truth. And something is just rattling around in your cage, eating you up, and you're just going, this is driving me crazy. I really need to say this, but I can't do that because of whatever your freaking excuse is. That great reason that you have. And I want you to just lean in. You don't have to jump off the cliff, but you need to lean in. And you need to have some sort of expression. I want you to find one space today to express your truth a little bit more than what you have been. Just a little bit more than what you have been. Just edge out there. Breathe it in. Expand yourself. Have just a little bit of faith in that connection, in that relationship. Speak your truth. And also be present enough to hold that space for another to speak their truth. Because if you can't speak your truth and the other person can't speak theirs, this void, this empty space, it is detachment, lack of connection. And what are we all wanting? Connection, right? It's going to remain right there unless we lean in and become just a little bit vulnerable. So there you go. There's your mission for today. Vulnerability. I know some people are already working on it. But yeah, see if you can edge into that vulnerable state just a smidgen today. Speak a little bit more. Open up your hearts, open up your minds, and open up your mouths to speak it. If I said anything in this conscious coffee that has touched you, made you think of somebody or anything, and you're like, okay, yep, that's pretty accurate. Or you're just if you're, then I guess you won't share it. But maybe you will. Maybe I'll dare you to share it. There you go. I double dog dare you to share it if you don't like it. And I am in total gratitude if you choose to share it, if it feels in alignment to share it. If I did touch you in some fashion or made you think of somebody who needs to hear this message. I love you guys. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching to learn how to enter the realm of vulnerability and integrity, where we really do have the biggest complications, and it is the answer to the majority of our desires. So if you're wanting happiness, look no further than your own truth, than your own integrity. And if you would like a little bit of assistance in discovering a path to that integrity, to that happiness, please message me for details on my one-on-one coaching available around the world globally. Also, I have tons of workshops and events coming up, so make sure that you explore my events page And as always, stop existing, start living. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.